name's Rebecca, and if you have not subscribed, please do. We love all things makeup over here, and today we're going to get into doing a matte makeup look. I'm not really going to go into technique too much. I'm going to go into just, I guess, techniques to do with having a matte base and the products that I use to achieve a matte makeup look that, one, looks matte but also stays matte and lasts throughout the entire day as well. So let's get into it. So I did my brows off camera. Before we do anything, I would say the very first step that you need to make sure that you've got a very nice matte makeup look is your base underneath that matte makeup look. So that's your skincare. You've probably heard it before, but you need to make sure you're taking care of your skin in order to then get a flawless look. So I would say that you need to be very, very hydrated underneath your matte makeup look. So if your skin is dry, then your face is gonna, well, your skin is gonna produce more oil, and then that oil is gonna come through to your makeup, and then you're not gonna look matte anymore. You're gonna look oily, you're gonna look wet, and that's just not what we want. So you actually do need to make sure that you look very hydrated and that your skin is actually genuinely very hydrated before you start applying your makeup. I'm not going to get into what products you should be using. I think everybody should know what products they need to use for their skin type. So if you know that you're a dry skin kind of person, then make sure that you're using the right types of skincare to really get that moisture into your skin. If you've got combination skin, whatever it may be, do what you need to do to make sure that your skin is hydrated before you even start. So with that being said, the very first step is priming. So I'm using two primers, and they're both from Danessa Myricks. There are more affordable options. However, I have just found that these are products that work so well that I will always invest in them, and they're gonna last for ages. Like, I can't even tell you how long I've had this for, and there's still so much in here. This is very, very used, but I've had this, again, I don't know how long I've had them for. I think I bought them together actually. That's how much I've got left. So it gets very used, but it lasts a very long time, especially if you know how to use it. So these products are very good if you want a matte makeup look, because they're going to control any excess oils that your skin produces, and that's exactly what you need so that it's not seeping through your makeup. So the first one is the water powder serum, and I'm not going to use a lot at all. I tend to use 2 dots on each part of my face. And I would also say, if you are investing in these products, if you don't know about them already, I'd be surprised if you don't know about them already, but if you don't, then use it according to what your skin is like. I know I have combination skin, and trial and error is also very important as well. So the very first time I used these, I used both of them together, and I used way too much of both of them together. I used this all over my face, the water powder serum, I used it all over my face, and then I used the blurring balm all over my face as well. And it did exactly what it's supposed to do. It controlled any excess oils. If anything, sometimes it kind of continues to mattify you throughout the day. And it did that to the point where when I looked at my face at the end of the day, I was impressed at how my makeup had held up all day. But I was very dry under my eyes. In general, my skin looked dry, like I looked matte and dry. So that may work for you if you are a oily babe. If you're not an oily babe, then I wouldn't recommend using both of them all over your face. So I'm going to explain how I use them. I have combination skin. My T-zone tends to get oily. So what I'll do is I'm going to go in with the water powder serum first. I'm just going to do 2 dots, or I did 3, but that's all right, we can spread it around. 2 dots, 2 dots. And I may go in with 1 extra dot as well, just underneath. So I'm going to just kind of rub it and then pat it into the skin. And I'm actually avoiding my under eyes because I'm going to do something else for my under eyes. So I'm just patting that into the skin, avoiding my under eyes, and I'm going to let that dry. While that's drying down, so I said I like to do something different for the eyes. So I don't use any mattifying primers underneath my eyes, because I've just found for me that really dries my eyes out and it causes creasing when I put my concealer on and all of that. So I use a glowy or a grippy kind of primer, anything that's basically going to hydrate. So it has to be a hydrating kind of primer. So I'm going to use that now. I'm using the Refy Glow and Sculpt, but it can literally be whatever. If I'm not using the Refy Glow and Sculpt, I'll use e.l.f. the e.l.f. Power Grip one as well. Just anything that's hydrating and gripping. That's what I'm using under my eyes because we want that to stay nice and juicy. We don't want that to be matte. So literally just under the eyes. Okay, now we've probably dried down a bit, so I'm now going with the blurring balm, and I'm only going to use a small amount. I'll show you how much I use. I'm literally, I don't even know if you're going to be able to see, but I'm literally just going to probably use about that much. Let's see, I may need more, but I'm going to use that much, and I'm going to put a small amount on my nose. Rub that in. Then I'm going to use on my T-zone, so just in the middle of my forehead. I'm just going to rub that in. And then I'm going to use whatever I've got left, and it should be a nice, decent amount on my smile lines, and I'll explain why. I'm just rubbing that into my smile lines. Now, I actually saw this tip ages ago, I can't even remember how long ago that was, from Taomi K, and she said, put it on your smile lines, you're not going to have any issues with getting smile lines, like that creasing in your smile lines throughout the day. I promise you guys, I've never ever had any creases on my smile lines ever since doing this. It just doesn't happen. So you can go throughout the day, talk, laugh, smile, whatever it is, and you're not going to have those ugly creases. Well, I'm saying you're not going to. Everybody's different, but it's worked for me, so I don't want someone to try it and then say that it didn't work for them. It works for me. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to let that fully dry down, and then I'm going to come in with the next step, which is going to be foundation. Both the water powder serum and the blurring balm, they both have a powdery texture. So the blurring balm is actually a balm to powder. The water powder serum, I guess it's in the name, because I can feel that the water powder serum has given like a powdery finish to my skin, and I think that's one of the things that really helps it to mattify and then make your makeup last throughout the day, because you want powdery kind of things. You don't want to have too many wet things going on when you want a matte look. So it's really good for that, and I really recommend, and I recommend just go and get it. Just go and get it. I'm now going to apply foundation. I'm using HMB Cosmetics Silky Matte Weightless Foundation. This is a very nice, as it says in the name, matte foundation. When it says silky, it kind of has a satin finish. So you're not going to look dry, but you're still going to look matte, if that makes sense. If you want to, then you can pair it with something that's glowy underneath, like a skin tint underneath. Sometimes I do this if I want to have like a sheen underneath that's kind of like glow from within. If you want like a glow from within, then add that underneath. If you don't and you want to be just completely matte, then leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone today because I really do want to have a matte look, but that's a good tip if you want to have a mattifying look, but you've just got that slight glow on the inside, if that makes any sense. But we're just going to use the foundation, so I'm going to apply that now, and then we'll move on to the next step. So that's my foundation applied. Like I said, it's got a satin finish to it, so it's still got that kind of glow from within. It probably looks a little bit more shiny on camera than it actually is in person because I've got my lights, but it's definitely matte. So I'm just going to apply the rest of my cream products, my concealer and bronzer and blush, and then I'll be back once I've done all of that. All of the creams have been applied, and now I'm going to set all of them with powders. Powders are going to help to continue to mattify as well, but it just sets everything in place so that it's all locked in. So I'm going to set with my loose powder, and this is also HMB Cosmetics Soft Focus Loose Powder, and I'm using the shade Medium Tan. And then I'm going to use the bronzer, which they have discontinued, and it's all rubbed off now, but they have discontinued it. It's in the shade Dark, and I'm just gonna use my powder probably to set my blush, because it's also HMB Cosmetics. This is the Glossy Skin Blush Tint. They don't have any powders to accompany them, but they can be used on top of all of your products once you've set it all. So even once I set all of my powders, I could use this on top if I wanted to, but because I want a matte look, I don't want it to be too glossy, so I'm just kind of going to set it and mute it with my loose powder. Powders have all been applied, so I've set my under eyes, I've set my bronzer, and now I'm just using a big fluffy brush with some translucent powder on it, and I'm just going to go over the other areas of my face that would need setting as well, so that everything is set, so there's no patches that aren't covered with powder. Any areas that have excess shine as well, just dabbing it on there. Pretty much all over my face, to be fair. So I've applied all of my powders and now I need to set it all with a setting spray. I do have a mattifying setting spray, however I don't love how this one melts the products together, melts the powders into the creams. So I would use this afterwards to then mattify it further if I felt like it needed it. So I'm going to use a regular setting spray for now. I have one that's quite dewy if I wanted to add a bit of dewiness to it, and then I do have one that just kind of sets what you've already done, so it doesn't add any extra glow to it or anything like that. So I'm going to go in with that one, get that set. If I feel like I need to add a bit more matte, make it a bit more mattifying, then I will go in with this one. Okay, so that has all been set. It does look quite matte to me, but I will go in with this mattifying setting spray as well, just to lock a bit more in. I won't overdo it. Okay, I'll wait for that to dry down. That is all set with my setting sprays. I'm going to do an extra part of this process. You don't have to do this if you don't feel like you need it, but I'm going to go in with just a little bit of pressed powder and just brighten the under eyes a little bit, and it will actually help to blur as well. So if that's something else that you'd want to add, then go ahead. So I'm going to do that now. Before I actually finish, the very last step is fixing spray. I just personally like to spray this before I put any mascara on my lashes, so I'm going to do that first. If you want an extremely matte look, then you can go for a fixing spray that is mattifying. I believe the One Size setting spray is a very mattifying spray, fixing spray, and it lasts all day. This, I find it to just maintain whatever it is that you've done. So if you've done a matte look, it will maintain that matte look. If you've done a dewy look, it will maintain that dewy look. So it's not, I don't feel as though it adds any additional matteness, if matteness is a word. So yeah, I'm just going to spray that, and then I'm going to finish my lips and lashes, and then we'll be all done. So this is the finished look. This is how you achieve a matte base, and it is going to stay matte throughout the day, especially if you're using those products that I mentioned at the beginning. I'll just get a little bit closer because my lights are quite bright and it's probably giving that it's shiny, but it is very matte. I can see that it's matte when I'm looking like in my mirrors that are close to me. So yeah, that is it looks very pretty actually, very cute. I'm really happy with that. So yeah, let me know what else you guys would want to see, what types of looks you'd want to see. Maybe some eyeshadow looks. I'm really scared of eyeshadow. I am new here on YouTube, and there's only a few of you following me at the moment from my shorts, which I really appreciate. Thank you so much. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.